Today I want to dive into the difference between fat loss and weight loss. Now I know you might be thinking, aren't those the same things? And no, they're actually two very different things. What I see hold women back often when it comes to their fat loss journey is getting too focused on that scale number. And here's the thing, you can be making progress with your fat loss and it might not reflect on the scale. So we're going to dive into why that might be happening. All right, before we do that, I want to share a testimonial from one of my clients because I think this is a great example of what can happen and what to expect on your journey. So my client said, my towel fit around my whole body. What? And some clothes that I ordered online in my usual size were too big. The scale is barely budging, but I know I'm building muscle and getting stronger. I'm not worried about that number, what that number says, because I can feel the transformation happening. And I think this is so key. We can be making progress, losing fat, getting stronger, adding more muscle to our frame, look completely different, and the scale doesn't change. So what's going on there? So here's how I want to break it down. We want to think of weight. When you step on a scale, you're not just taking your fat and putting it on the scale, right? Weight on the scale measures a lot of things. It can measure muscle, it can measure bone, it can measure water weight is a huge one. This is why a lot of times you'll see fluctuations on the scale, right? Like it could go up one day and down one day and then back up. Very normal to happen. I know if I go out and eat a salty meal, I can expect to have that scale go up. So if I go out to dinner, I eat a really salty meal, I already know that scale is gonna go way up. And so water weight is a big one. Maybe food in the stomach, right? Again, if I had a big meal, I'm gonna weigh more after eating that meal before I go to the bathroom than after, right? This is a lot of times why we weigh in the morning instead of weighing at night. So there's a lot of different things that the number on the scale can measure and a lot of things that can fluctuate and be different from day to day. And a big thing that can happen, especially if you're a beginner or somebody just getting started, like this client is that you will gain muscle as you're losing fat. So your body will transform. You'll notice you're smaller, you fit into smaller clothes, you might notice more definition in your body, but that scale doesn't change. And this is really key to keep in mind because again, this is where a lot of people give up. They get so focused on the scale, they ignore all the other ways that they're actually making progress. And if we zoom out and focus on all these different things, it's gonna help keep us inspired and motivated to keep going instead of to giving up. This happened, I ran a gym for goodness, like from 2008 to about 2021. And one of the things that I would see happen a lot is women would come in super stoked, super excited, right? Just like this client, she'd be like, I can tighten my bra better, I can tighten my belt a little bit tighter, I'm wearing smaller size clothes, my face looks thinner, like all these things. And they would come in super excited, super stoked about the results. And then they would step on the scale and it was just like instant change, right? They come from being happy and excited to all of a sudden just like being sad, being depressed, being frustrated, being angry, all the feels coming out because, right, where does this come from? It's because many of us have been taught to only focus on the scale, that the scale is the only thing that matters. So we have to break that story. We have to break that habit because the scale is only one piece of the picture. It's only one part of the whole puzzle. So what's really important is when we're looking at weight loss and fat loss, yes, it's okay to weigh. There's nothing wrong with doing that and tracking that and seeing your progress there, but don't make it be the only thing that you focus on, okay? Now, before I dive into, so I want to dive into a couple ways to track your progress alongside of the scale if you want to do the scale. Some people don't even do the scale. That's okay. It's a personal preference for your specific goals. But I want to break this down because I think this really helps people to conceptualize this because again, I get sometimes this is hard to understand, especially if you've been one of those people that have always been, it's about the scale, it's about the scale. Why isn't my weight going down even though I look different, okay? So I want you guys to think of it like this. So if this is fat, this is a pound of fat, and this is what a pound of fat looks like on your body, okay? This would be how much space it would take up, for example, okay? Now let's say this is a pound of muscle. So let's just say you lose a pound of fat, but you gain a pound of muscle. Things look exactly the same. on the scale, but you can see how you would look very different. You'd be a lot more smaller, you'd be more tight, more toned, right? That muscle it still weighs the same, right? A pound of muscle weighs the same as a pound of fat, but how they fit on your body, how they show up on your body looks like two very different things, okay? So hopefully this helps you to visualize where you could be losing this, gaining this, and looking very, very different, okay? So that just gives you an example. So what can you do instead of just weighing by itself? I love measurements, right? So taking circumference like chest, waist, and hips can be really, really helpful. I love like what my client here did, where she just started to pay attention to little things like how did her clothes fit? I mean, being able to put a towel around her, what a huge, huge difference, right? Can you imagine like going from barely being able to get the towel around to like wrapping it around yourself, right? So how do your clothes fit? Are you noticing little things like that you're able to do that you couldn't do before, right? And then I have my clients take pictures, because one of the things I notice a lot happens too is I'll have clients come in and be like, I look the same, nothing's changed. You see yourself every day, and it's really hard for you to see those changes. It's kind of like watching grass grow, right? Like you can be staring at the grass and it looks like nothing is happening, right? And so having pictures where you can compare that progress together can be really helpful, because you know, we're all gonna lose fat in different areas of our body. Unfortunately, we can't, like the big myth of like spot reduce, do crunches to lose stomach fat, doesn't work. We can't decide where it comes off. A lot of this has to do with genetics. And so maybe you're losing it off your face. So even if you're taking measurements, maybe it's not reflecting because you're losing it off your face, or you're losing it off your arms, right? Some people will lose it more upper body first, some others lower body. We're all very different. So we have to let go of this idea that we're gonna lose it in a certain place, and just have some different ways that you can measure it. I really like to have an outfit, like just go pick out an outfit, maybe one that's a little like hard to button up, a little hard to get on, and you know, give it a few months and put it back on later and see how much easier it is to zip up those pants, or how much easier it is to fit into that dress. That can be a really, really helpful way as well to track your progress. So I think it's really important. Nothing wrong with weighing, but have a few different ways that you're tracking progress. Weigh, do some measurements, take your photos beforehand. I know you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to take my photos, but you're going to be glad that you have them down the road. So make sure you get those starting photos, and then just take notice of how your clothes fit, how your outfits fit, okay? This is gonna make such a big difference on your journey, help you stay inspired and on track, and get away from focusing just on weight, because the goal is not to just lose weight. The goal is to lose fat, but do it in a way that's healthy. We still wanna stay strong, we still wanna have muscle on our frame. And so if we're losing fat but gaining muscle, that's a good thing. That's what we want, and that's gonna be the key to helping you stay focused and stay on track. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, drop a comment down below, let me know. And if you're looking for more support and guidance on your journey to help you overcome these types of hurdles so you can finally lose that 20 to 50 pounds and keep it off for good, go send me a message over on Instagram. Just message me Blueprint, and let's chat more about what coaching would look like for you.